So, if you guys haven't heard the great news for all my horror fan and geeks out there, with the new Friday the 13th game, they had to put it on hold. It's going to come out in March. Well, the multiplayer is, and then the single player they'll patch in by June. But one of the main reasons they had to stop it, not just for the single player aspect of it, they were putting in Tommyjarvis, the man on a mission to kill Jason. 3 movies deep, and he came out alive every single time, and they put him in the game, and they dropped the trailer for it just the other night. I actually saw it drop live, which was awesome. But it basically, I'll explain to you what it is if you guys haven't seen it. It's basically a camp counselor with Jason banging on the door about to kill him on the radio going, "Please, somebody help me, Jason's about to fuck us all up," basically is what he's saying. And all of a sudden it cuts away to a graveyard. Tommy comes walking up. Me and Jason have some unfinished business or some shit like that. He got some big-ass shotgun on his back like he's Mr. Ash Williams. Calling Jason a maggot head ready to go kick some ass. I am ecstatic for this. If you don't know who Tommyjarvis is, he was the first person ever to kill Jason while Jason was a living being and put him down. He also brought Jason back to life as an undead, superpowered son of a bitch, but he was also the first one to put him back down after that. He's been in 3 movies, kicked ass in all 3. Let's just say when it's him and Jason, the human might actually win. So I'm really excited for this. This is one of the very few true heroes that we I think you could call him a hero, but one of the very true heroes that we have in horror next to, you know, Ash from Evil Dead and so forth. What do you guys think about this?
Well, you know, when we first started talking about the game, the idea of the game coming to life, we were totally pumped, and this was something on our minds and something we were wondering about. And, you know, the developers have given us an answer, but we hadn't seen anything about him yet. And this is going to give, you know, this gave insight and nice, you know, kind of fun touch to it and introduction.
What I can't wait to see is how they're going to pull it off and how they're going to use him. Like a single player, if you get to do a single player campaign going through all his trials and tribulations of trying to kill Jason throughout all the movies and comics, or as Jason, are you going to have to go up against Tommy in single player? And what I'm really curious about in multiplayer is how they're going to use him, since I don't know how you're going to end up picking all the different camp counselors. And if you're Tommy, there's going to have to be some type of OP power to him. Since he has gone up against Jason numerous times and whooped his ass, he has to be at least a little bit more powerful than any of the other camp counselors. But then who gets to pick him? Who gets to be him? Will it be fair? You know what I mean? How do you think that's gonna go?
Honestly, I see it being played from both perspectives, just because that's, when it comes to single player mode, you gotta kind of stretch it out a little bit. You know, you might end up with something like Skyrim where it lasts hours and hours and hours, but due to the way this game is set up and how it's being marketed as far as single player and the multiplayer dimensions are, I think we're going to see something more along the lines of like a Call of Duty kind of single player mode, which will break my heart if it's only like 8 hours long or 10 hours long, straight sit down and play through one type of day type of thing. So I think what they're probably going to do is come in, throw him in there to try to stretch that out and give you a little bit more longevity for the single player aspects of it all. I mean, you might go through and play as him and play through his trials and tribulations, then go back and play as Jason and try to stop him and put him down finally once for all. So, you know, I'm interested in see if they want to wiggle with it like that and play it like that, or if they're just going to be like, he's here, he's a playable character, his storyline's short, but you can enjoy it anyway.
See, I would definitely love if they gave him like his own single player, and then as Jason you had to take him on in Jason's single player also, because then you could do like 2 opposite story arcs with that. It would be really cool and add a lot to single player mode, being able to play as Jason, the main guy that everybody wants to play, but also giving Tommy his own single player, and somewhere in both of those they have to face each other. But in multiplayer, I wonder how they're going to do it. Like, is it going to be like Evolve where you get to pick your own character in a rush and nobody ever gets the character they really want to be? Or if they'll do something, you know, where anybody can get him, but you have to work for it. Let's say, like, everybody's dead, you're the last man alive, and somehow you become Tommy. Or let's say Tommy's, well, like in the trailer, you know, it shows a guy on the radio trying to call for help, and Tommy shows up. What happens if you have to like get into a certain cabin far away where it's dangerous? You got to get on the radio, stay on it for a certain amount of time, which makes you vulnerable to Jason. And if you're lucky enough to stay on that radio and call him, you become Tommy, walking into, you know what I mean?
Oh, kind of like an unlocked kind of character.
Yeah, like you just don't get him from nowhere. Then they showed him with the, I think it's a rifle, I don't know, it could be a shotgun on his back. But will he start with that weapon? And how will that affect Jason? And I mean, if you're putting Tommy in the game, you can't make him just the same weakness level as all the other camp counselors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's silly. You know, that's. I wouldn't agree with that if they did that. I mean, they gotta kind of give him some kind of edge because, you know, this is the, for lack of a better, you know, analogy, this is the Nancy of the Friday the 13th series. I mean, if you know from Nancy from A Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, this is the one that lives to tell about it. So, until the third installment.
Yeah, but he's literally gonna be getting Jason 3 times. Okay, the second one doesn't count. It was a fake Jason. But you know what I mean. Well, in the comics, he went up against him more than once. He actually met up with Ash from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he finally beat Jason for the very last time. In that one, he beat Jason while Ash was taking on Freddy and the Deadites. So, but yeah, they definitely, if they're gonna make him more powered, which they should not make it easy. Well, I don't want to say easy. Everyone should get a chance to play as Tommy, but at the same time, you shouldn't just be able to be this OP character right at the start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
That's what I feel about it.
I don't know, because I never really got into Friday the 13th too much. I know that that's like blasphemy, but I just never did. And from my lack of experience, I can say though that if he was a crucial character in the movies, you know, all throughout the series and stuff, that it is really, you know, that's somebody that they need to put into the game. But I am, like you, I'm really curious to see, like, are they going to make it so that it's like an unlockable character in game, or is it somebody that like you can just choose from, and then whoever so happens to be lucky to play that character, you know, will get like boosted stats or whatever the hell. But I think it would be a lot more beneficial if they made it so that it was an unlockable character. So like if you know, it came down to there were 1 or 2 people left, whoever one of those 2 people got to the, say, Easter egg location or whatever, and unlocked Tommy, that they were the ones that got to go head to head with Jason. So.
That would be a really cool idea. I really dig that. And for anybody that doesn't know, Tommy's been played by 3 different characters. One was actually by Corey Feldman as a little kid. He played Tommy as a little kid. Wow. Yes, a little kid who emulated Jason killed the living version of Jason. Heads up, just went nuts with Jason's own machete and killed him. Second guy is some actor nobody really remembers. He played him taking on the fake Jason. And the third one, I cannot remember the guy's name now, but he's been in a lot of horror movies. He was in Return of the Living Dead. He was actually in a lot of the Return of the Living Dead. He's next to Ash Williams. A lot of people don't remember the guy's name, but he plays the hero or sometimes the bubbling fool in a lot of the old school 80s horror movies. Like, you remember Return of the Dead. Remember, Justin, he was working with the guy in the mortuary and they accidentally let loose the zombies?
Oh, that guy?
Yeah, he played Tommy the third time, and that's the Tommy they're using. With the jacket on and the one-liners like, "Come on, maggot head. It's just you and me, Jason." Yeah, they're using the third Tommy, which is my favorite.
Alright, hell yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. But if you guys are interested in this, just wait. The multiplayer is going to drop, from what they're saying, probably in March, and then they'll patch in the single player by June. And somewhere in between now and March, they're going to drop the beta for everybody to play and have fun with, so I can't wait to try that out.
Just besides, you know, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for the whole damn game, honestly. Multiplayer, single player, you know, playing as or not playing as time, you know, I think the game itself is going to be fun. They might have a pretty big ass hit for being an indie developer on their hands.
Most definitely, and I like they just released some more screen captures. The models keep getting better and better, like very good HD quality. Like for a very independent game, they are really putting a lot of love into it, and the graphics actually look really good, especially what they're doing with the different versions of Jason. And what's cool is they have that living version of Jason that the little Tommy kills. So I wonder if they'll have little Corey Feldman Tommy in there as a kid killing Jason, because they have him in that greenish blue shirt. Remember that one that Jason wore when it was like the second time he wore the hockey mask, or was it the first time he wore the hockey mask?
First time.
Yeah, it was in the third movie, and that's where Tommy kills him and his sister. But yeah, they have that Jason in the game, among many other Jasons. So I wonder if that's a little prelude into what we might get.
Definitely interested in that. Shit.
Then they've been showing screen captures of the dead Jason. You know, the one with the chains around his neck because of Tommy?
Yeah.
So yeah,